Hello there, Lunar Squadron. Welcome back to the channel. Now, as you can clearly see, Andreas is back. I am not alone today. I'm not flying solo.
Yeah, I've made my triumphant return as Nick promised. It's good to be back. I've been away doing a lot of studying. I have the California bar exam coming up in under a week, so it's been a fun time to be alive.
Yes. You're having a lot of fun, just like EA is having fun these days. Now, tomorrow is the start of EA Play 2021, an event that we were all supposed to be looking forward to as Star Wars fans. However, as all of you know by now, late last week, EA Star Wars put out this infamous tweet where they stated that they would not be at EA Play this upcoming week. Now, they got a lot of hate for this tweet, and it was warranted, and they got a lot of hate from us here at Lunar Squadron. Again, we feel it was warranted. However, looking back on that tweet, there is actually something, there is one huge thing that we realized. One thing that we believe TT Games could actually learn from EA. That's right, we think there is something that EA actually does kind of well. And it kind of showed in that tweet from last week. Now, before we jump into that discussion, if you are new to the channel, we would love to have you as always. And the way to do that is just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It will notify you every single time that Andreas and I upload. We have a lot of great ideas coming in the pipeline. We've been thinking about stuff over the last few days, and we have numerous videos that we want to get out for you on the channel. So don't miss out. Enlist in the Lunar Squadron. We would love to have you. Now, let's go ahead, jump into the discussion. And yes, trust us, there is actually something EA does well that we think TT Games and Warner Brother Games could learn from them. All right, Andreas, let's tell the fine ladies and gentlemen of the Lunar Squadron and YouTube in general, what is the one thing that EA actually does well? Yes, Electronic Arts, that EA. What is the one thing that they do well that TT could actually learn from?
EA is notorious for giving its players a sense of pride and accomplishment in their games. Well, aside from doing that well, EA has actually shown, and what you were getting at, is that their communication has honestly been, I don't want to call it exemplary, but it is too standard. Whereas TT Games and their communication abilities is clearly below that. And I mean, we've kind of been hitting on this throughout our coverage of the Skywalker Saga, and it's not something that we just try to belabor. It's a point that we notice in the comments over and over again from all of you. We have the privilege of being able to read through not hundreds but thousands of comments from all sorts of Skywalker Saga fans, and Nick and I will both tell you that a good percentage of those fans always have told us how much they wish there was just a little bit more communication coming from TT Games as to whether or not they will be present at conferences, what their timeline looks like for the game, how their progress with the game is going, which nobody seems to know anything about, and with good cause, given that there's just silence from the studio. But I really do agree with you, Nick. I think that TT Games can take a page from EA's book here. I understand that this was it was a bitter pill to hand out to the fan base, point blank telling the fan base, listen, EA Play Live is not going to have one iota of not just, I mean, forget Jedi Fallen Order, they just told us no Star Wars news at all. Nothing from the galaxy far, far away, unfortunately. But I mean, sometimes it's best to just give it straight to the audience. Like, don't make us all watch LegoCon, which is like having a Swedish cheese grater rubbed against all of our ears for 2 hours.
But first, the moment that you LEGO Star Wars The Mandalorian fans might have been waiting for. Here it is!
And then at the end, everybody's all pissed off because you just didn't give a clear notice to all of your fans. I really think they could kind of do a bit more of what EA is doing here.
Yeah, so I think it was clear last week in our video, my video, or whatever you want to call it. I was clearly upset by the lack of Star Wars news just this year in general and in the future. However, like a lot of you mentioned in the comments, I actually really, really respect EA in hindsight for just coming out and straight up telling us, like you're saying. Now I know I don't have to waste much time watching EA play. I just am going to watch for, I guess, the Battlefield 2042 news that's supposed to be coming the next few days. But I don't have to waste my time. I actually really, really respect EA Star Wars' willingness to come out and communicate. And then when you kind of look back through their history, EA, for better or for worse, has actually communicated. And they've communicated through times of great controversy. So, like you at the beginning, a sense of pride and accomplishment. When Battlefront 2 launched, it launched in a really bad state. And they were willing to actually come out head on and talk about it. They didn't just hide in the shadows. Yes, it did result in the most downvoted post in Reddit history at the time, but at least they kind of addressed it. They didn't address it well, but at least they said something. And it's not just the Star Wars games that they've been willing to do this. Take NHL, for example. Last year, NHL 21 drops late in the year, and a lot of people are wondering, hey, will there be a next-gen version of this game for PS5 and Xbox Series X? And EA straight up told everybody, hey, we're not doing a next-gen version of this game at all this year. Not just at launch. We're just not going to do it. We're going to focus on the future iterations of this game. So, looking through their history, they're willing to communicate with fans. It's not always positive, but at least they talk. And honestly, like I said, I was very upset. I think a lot of people were upset once they saw that tweet last week. But now, getting a few days to separate myself from the tweet and from the news, I've gained a lot of respect. It's hard for me to say I've gained a lot of respect for EA. That might be a little too strong of a statement because EA is an extremely predatory company and they've done a lot of awful things and they will continue to do a lot of awful things. I'm looking at the FIFA 22 page actually on the PlayStation right now. It just happens to be up, and God, that game is predatory and EA is predatory. But it's besides the point. Point is at least EA respects their fans, their consumers enough to communicate with them, to not waste their time, to not give them false hope about Star Wars news being at EA Play. Because if that tweet never happens, I know for a fact, Andreas, that you and I tomorrow and Friday are sitting in front of this camera just waiting for Star Wars news, wasting our day when we could be doing a lot more productive stuff, whether with the channel or you studying or whatever. We could be doing more productive stuff with our time, and now we're not going to be wasting our time waiting for Star Wars news that is just never coming. And look, all it took was a simple tweet. TT Games, this is what we're asking for. We're not asking you to release the game in a broken state. We're not asking you to rush development. We're just asking you to put out a couple of tweets once in a while. Just be like, hey, still working on it. It's coming, we promise. Like, see how simple this is? Like, it's super easy. It was a 2-sentence tweet from EA. And it makes all of us kind of feel better in hindsight after having a couple days to analyze it.
Yeah, I think it's honestly incredibly important for all of us to start normalizing communications like this. Because if you think about this is all PR, right? Mm-hmm. These companies are trying to save face. They're trying to look good. Social media is a great way for them to gauge how the public is going to receive their products. Now, EA knows how to play business better than anybody else. EA makes a shit ton of money. That is a scientific unit of money that they make. They make so much money, and I think it's honestly instructive for TT to kind of look at what the big boys are doing. EA has made a decision that it is they don't do anything. They don't lift a finger unless it's profitable. So they've made that decision that it is profitable to tell their consumers what is going to be at their conference, EA Play, and what is not going to be at their conference. They've looked at events such as, we've seen events like the Summer Games Fest, the Spring Showcase, where the comment section was just littered with Lego Star Wars. Where's Lego Star Wars? I think they're kind of picking up on, it's not good to keep fans just standing at the altar waiting for something. It's much better to just clear the water, give clear expectations of what's going to be there and what won't, so that you don't have, the parade of pitchforks at the event once, something that everybody was hyping up doesn't end up actually showing up. This tweet here has about, it has a lot of comments. I mean, not a lot of them are positive, unfortunately. But I think before you start, hating on EA, we have to think of the ramifications of doing that. Like, I think this is a good thing, personally. I think we should be encouraging companies for stepping out and saying, like, clearly what's going on and what's not, rather than dogging on them because you're disappointed. We've kind of made this separation between being upset about something and, actively having a right to hate on a company. I don't think this gives you the right to hate on EA. I think you have a right to be upset, but to go out and like start attacking them for not having something at EA Play is honestly like, it's a bit uncalled for, to be honest. That's just my take on it.
Last thing I want to say, and just kind of maybe explain and right the ship of where the frustration is geared at. Am I frustrated they're not showing anything at EA Play? No, not really. What I'm mad about is the total mismanagement of the Star Wars IP since they signed that exclusive contract. It's unacceptable, like I said in the last video. The way Star Wars has been handled over the last decade under EA is just simply not good enough. And I feel like this tweet, a lot of those emotions kind of boiled over with myself and a lot of other people. But, I respect the communication. So I guess, TT Games, WB Games, it's not too late. Tomorrow, I promise you, if you tomorrow tweet it out, hey, here's something about the game, your lives probably get a lot easier. Mm-hmm. If you just said something, as long as it wasn't another one of those, like, posts that's like, oh, we're delaying the game indefinitely, like one of those, like, oh, news coming soon. As long as it's not one of those, I think your lives would get a lot easier. I think you would gain a lot of respect back from your consumers, and I think just everyone in general would be in a better mood about your game. It's a simple thing. It's a 2-sentence tweet. It will take you 30 seconds, or, run it through your PR team, run it through your legal team, all that in an afternoon. Just put a tweet out, just something. It's a challenge. Honestly, I'm challenging TT Games. They probably don't give a shit, but I'm going to challenge them to just communicate like EA. That seems simple, like super simple. Communicate like EA. That's not asking for much.
Do anything as good as EA, like, and you will be
like, it's that meme where I'm like poking it. It's like, come on, do something. Like, that's us with TT Games right now. Like, come on.
Yeah.
We're asking you to communicate like EA. Like, come on. We're asking you to do the bare minimum here. But,
Yeah, I mean, it's not too hard to get on Twitter and say, we are not going to be at Gamescom, so that all the people showing up to Gamescom, once WB Games announces that they're going to be on the roster, which they are known to do late on in the game, people don't start coming in lines to this conference hoping for Lego Star Wars, and then Back 4 Blood takes center stage. And then the poor devs at Turtle Rock Games have to see thousands of people get disappointed because their publishing label wasn't responsible enough to tell everybody what was going to be there. And then these poor devs working on this game feel like everybody hates their game when that's simply not the case. It's just merely the fact that WB hasn't told people what is going to be there. So,
however, if TT Games simply says we're not going to be at Gamescom, they need to do a little more than that and give a little bit of a timeline. They need to do a little more.
They've got to show what their
like,
struggles are.
Like, they gotta. If you're gonna say you're not gonna be at Gamescom, you gotta give a little bit of a timeline. But all right,
yeah,
I'm done. I think I've said what I need to say.
No, that's a great point, and I think the difference between EA and TT with that is that EA has not started taking pre-orders on Jedi Fallen Order. EA has not started generating hype for the next Jedi Fallen Order game or for Battlefront 3. They haven't announced shit. So they don't owe anybody anything at this point, right? So whereas TT Games, they owe a thing or two to a few people that have put down some money on this game. They really do owe that respect to those people. So that's the difference in my book.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, guys, if you agree with us, let us know down below in the comments. Is this something that TT Games and Warner Brother Games could learn from EA, or is it just not good enough and TT needs to do more than that? Honestly, I feel like we're just asking for the bare minimum from TT Games and WB Games at this point. If we're asking you to communicate like EA, then we're not asking for much because it is Electronic Arts after all. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead, leave us a like. It helps us out a ton. We would really appreciate it. And if you are new to the channel and you are not yet subscribed, we would love to have you enlist in the Lunar Squadron. And the way to do that, just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It will notify you every single time Andreas and I drop the latest and greatest Star Wars Indiana Jones gaming news. All of that, all of the stuff that we all know and love. But that is going to do it for us today, and we will see you all